1, 2, 3.
Pull R&B ballin' for all y'all to see. Pull R&B ballin' for all y'all to see.
I wasn't breathing.
Exactly, and this is funny because I can see how nervous you are. You were literally just waiting. You were just eyeing the recorder and not even moving an inch and not even breathing. And I promise you, this is a very chill environment.
I'm good. I'm ready. I'm gonna get into it.
And I'm not even gonna say what the first thing you're gonna say is when the episode is over. But since I've done this so many times, I'm positive you're gonna say one of three things.
Okay.
Once this is over. But with that being said, welcome everyone to another episode of Go with the Flow. At this point, I've really lost track of how many episodes that I've done. I'm just kind of banging them out. And then I take long breaks because I was in Nigeria last week from Wednesday to Monday, which very fun. Went for my dad's 60th birthday party. But I don't recommend making such a very long trip for such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Just plucking yourself out of the school ecosystem and then coming right back when you have so much work to do and so much else going on. But it is what it is. That's a topic for maybe later in the podcast, maybe for a different day. Who knows? But with all that being said, finally to my guest, as always, very special guest in the building. Anyone who takes the time out to speak with me is special and has a special place in my heart. But my friend Isabelle Balson is in the building. Welcome to the show, Isabelle.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Isabelle/Izzy. I'm going to say Izzy the rest of the episode.
That works.
Isabelle, 3 syllables. That's way too
it's a
hard.
mouthful.
Yeah, I could do 2. I can't do 3.
Okay.
That's why I'm Flo to 1 instead of 3. Full name's actually 5. Too much going on. But the way that I start every single episode, I ask my guests to introduce themselves, tell me where they're from, stuff they do around campus, and then just any other general introduction that they would want the people to know.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Isabelle. Many people call me Izzy, so yes. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, just outside the city, actually. I feel like sometimes if I say like Newton, Massachusetts, it's too specific, but then I say Boston and people are like the city, and I'm like, no, but it's fine. So yes, I'm from the suburbs of Boston in Massachusetts. Lived there most of my life. On campus, I'm a philosophy major. Certificate's still figuring it out. We'll see.
How can you still be figuring out your certificate as a second semester's junior?
Yeah, I mean, there were like basically this was a gap year issue that I like thought I knew what I wanted to do and then I didn't. But yeah, I mean, when I say still figuring it out, maybe that means I'm not figuring it out, but.
So like you're not going to get one, or?
We'll see. There are still some that I can get based on the classes I've taken, so. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, and what else? I dance, which I think we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm in diSiac, which is awesome, and I love that. I also give tours, which is fun.
You're in Orange Key? Mm-hmm. Okay, I have questions about that. Oh, I wish I knew that coming in.
Okay, well,
I'm going to prep those questions on the spot. Amazing Orange Key.
Cool.
I got questions about that. Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing that since freshman year, so one of my favorite things. What else? I've also done like a bunch of community service stuff with Community House, and I coached a youth basketball team this year. Basically, just really like working with kids in general, and then also have done some stuff with Princeton Students for Reproductive Justice. Mostly my friends just run that club, and they do an amazing job. And sometimes I go to their stuff because they're doing really cool work. And what else?
You don't have to say anything else. You said a lot.
Oh, okay.
Shit, I was like, God, no. I mean, if there's more,
I think that's most of it.
I was about to say, if there's more, please let us know. But that is again, like most Princeton students, involved in a lot because you come in here to take advantage of so many of the resources. But first thing that I want to start with, you coached youth basketball. What was that through?
Yeah. So I have a friend who one Saturday, at brunch showed up and was like, oh, I was just, coaching this basketball team.
Wait, is it Boyd?
It's Boyd,
okay.
Yeah. I was like, my friend who will remain nameless. I don't know why I was being serious about that. And I was like, oh my God, why don't I do that? And it's basically like just Princeton Rec League. So it's run through the town, I think. And they just need volunteers to come coach. My team was 4th and 5th grade boys, which was really, really fun. As I mentioned, I love working with kids. Those kids are of an age where I feel like they're still little enough that like everything is fun.
Yeah.
And so it was so low key. It's just Saturday mornings, but I had the best time. And I played basketball my whole life before coming here, so it was really fun to like, be able to see things from the other side. And It was good.
Most importantly, working with kids, all that's great. Them having fun, all that's great. What was your team record?
Yeah. Okay. My team was really good. So I actually had to miss a couple of games, but we were the best team in the league in the regular season.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, green team, which was awesome. And then actually, the playoffs were single elimination. I had to miss the first game because of spring break. But we won. And then I had to miss the second game because it was the week of the diSiac show.
I'm sensing a lack of dedication to your team.
No, I was so dedicated. There was a lot going on. But the second game of the playoffs, we actually played Boyd's team. And we had beat them by 20 points earlier in the season. But we lost. And I wasn't there to cheer on my kids. I regret it every day. But apparently, this is kind of funny. Apparently, like, everybody hated our team because we were the best. I didn't know this during the season. But apparently, like, Boyd's team started coming back towards the end of the game. And all the other kids from the other games, like, rushed into the gym. And they were like, down with the green team. Which is really sad. But yeah, I was prepping for my show, so I couldn't be there. But I'll definitely be back next year, so.
True, because again, did you mention that you are class of 2023?
Oh, I didn't.
Yes.
So true.
We'll ask you about that, but yes, you are OG class of 2022.
Yes.
One of the good ones that we lost to the class of 2023.
Yeah.
Took a gap year, so you will be back next year.
Indeed.
But that's a fun thing. That's something that this year especially, I really don't do much extracurriculars. But,
I mean, we're in the middle of your extracurricular right
but
now.
I don't count this as an extracurricular. Like, it's not even on my resume.
You should put it on your resume. It's pretty cool.
You're right. Maybe I should.
I mean, you also have a job.
You're right.
So you're fine. But.
Yeah. Maybe when I'm updating my resume one day,
Right.
I will put it on. But I don't look at this as an extracurricular. It's just something that I do for fun.
Okay.
And I could do this every day for the rest of my life. And be
Yeah.
like, this is so fun. One day I'll figure out how to make this pay all the bills,
Yeah.
and then we'll work from there.
Cool.
But from now, we're still going. But I had a friend sophomore year who did that pre-pandemic, and I was about to do a similar program where they actually played the games in Dillon.
Yeah, they used to do it in Dillon.
Oh, so it's the same
program.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think it might be just like COVID restrictions at Princeton. So they play now at the Hun School, which is like 10 minutes away, which is actually also where my parents got married, which is funny.
What?
Yeah.
Why did your parents get married at the Hun School? Or did they meet there?
No, they met at Princeton actually.
Okay.
And like had a lot of family in New Jersey in the area. So, and my uncle was teaching at Hun at the time. So I don't know. They have like really pretty spaces there, I guess. My parents wanted to get married in the area. So
Prettier than Princeton itself?
yeah, it's a good question. But where would you actually get married if you got married on Princeton's campus?
In the chapel.
No, they want to get married outside.
Good question. I think does their garden have a name?
Prospect Garden.
I feel like there's a way to fit. You probably couldn't fit too many seats in there, but I feel like there's a way to do all that.
If it was a small wedding.
Or if you have enough clout or pull, you could definitely shut down in front of Nassau. Nassau Hall.
Like where they do graduation.
But
I think it would be too, like, I wouldn't want to be overshadowed by the university on my wedding day, you know?
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. Would you get married at Princeton?
No, I got to get married in New England.
How do you already know that? What if you meet the love of your life today at Princeton University?
We can get married in New England.
What if he doesn't want to get married in New England?
He will.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that.
Did we have the wedding song conversations?
No.
Okay, never mind. Because I already have my wedding playlist made.
Okay, and what if, the lucky girl doesn't want that wedding
exactly,
playlist?
and that's what I was getting at. Is the way you're so certain that you are going to get married in New England. I maintain that the only two things I need to control about my wedding will be what I wear and my outfit changes.
What about who you marry?
Okay. You know what I mean. About the wedding day itself.
Okay, outfit
yes.
and
playlist, and yes, who I marry.
Okay.
Other than that, all up to her.
Yeah.
Guest list, location, just tell me day and time to show up. And I like that for you. It's the same with the New England wedding.
I mean, it's the same with most things. I think I know what I like. So.
Okay. Well, okay. Do you? Oh, and this is another. I haven't talked about this in a while. There's some statistic that I don't have off the top of my head of the amount of Princeton people who. Wait, did you say your parents met here?
They did, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right along those lines.
Yeah.
Your parents met here, got married, and there's a statistic of a stupid amount of Princeton people who meet each other and get married here. It's like a stupid stat.
Yeah.
At reunions. Freshman year, some alum said it was like 70%. That was capped.
Yeah.
But it's still a surprisingly high amount.
Yeah.
Do you think you've met your husband or partner? I'm not going to assume anything.
Yeah, fair. No, I can't. I can't say either way.
You never know.
No, I think like something that I always think about when I hear that stat is like I assume that's people who met like during undergrad and started dating during undergrad. And I actually think there's probably a really large percentage of people who, went to Princeton at the same time but didn't know each other or were friends and started dating later. So I'm not going to say, unequivocally I have not, because...
Great word.
Yeah, thanks. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen, 10 years from now. I don't think so. Okay. But, I'm open to anything.
Again, and yeah, I agree. You never know. I don't think I've met my wife.
You don't?
Here. I don't think she's
I feel
here.
like maybe you have.
Maybe because I talk to so many people that the net is just that wide.
The chance. And I also feel like you're, you like talking about soulmates, and like I think of you as like you're plugged in on that issue.
Yeah.
So maybe you have.
Maybe we'll see. Again, I'll check in with you.
I'm excited to find out. Yeah.
10 to 15 years from now. But okay, one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to ask you about also, moving on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Orange Key.
Yeah.
Which is something, I thought about doing it. I went to one interest meeting and then they gave me so much shit that I had to learn. I was like, no, thank you. That was when I was freshman year, actually getting drowned academically, so I didn't want that extra burden.
When you were pre-med.
When I was pre-med engineering, exactly. Different world, different lifetime. Why is that something that you wanted to do?
Yeah. So like a backstory that nobody asked for. One thing that I wasn't anticipating.
First of all, this is a podcast. This is literally all 4 backstories.
True. Okay, cool. I'm on it. One thing I wasn't expecting when I came to Princeton was how competitive the extracurriculars were going to be. Because obviously I think it's important to like not just do school all the time, but sort of finding my place in terms of what I wanted to do outside of classes took me a while. So I tried out for a bunch of stuff, freshman, fall, and everywhere I was like, no. Like, I mean, a cappella, club volleyball, like...
Damn, the club volleyball team cut you?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not very good at volleyball. But it's okay. Cool. I mean, I was just trying things out. I was young and naive and energetic.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Seems like a lifetime ago. But tour guiding was the one, like none of those, I was upset, obviously, like getting rejected sucks. But none of those things was really like super core to my identity. So I wasn't like, oh, I define myself as a singer, or like, I can't believe I'm not going to get to do a cappella. I was like, it stinks, but it's fine. Tour guiding, I feel like, was the first thing where I was like, this is sort of how I think about myself. I think there's like,
interesting.
I think lots of different personality types could be a good tour guide.
Okay.
But I think like the stereotype of like enthusiastic and extroverted and whatever, like a lot of those things, do apply to me. And I did tour guiding in high school as well. I think it's like a really good opportunity to connect with prospective students, which is awesome. And I also think just like selfishly, it's really useful for me to have an opportunity once a week to like step back and think about why I do love Princeton. It's really easy to get bogged down in readings and stuff, over the course of any given week. And then when I give tours and people are asking me questions about, why it is that I like to be here, it sort of forces me to reflect in a way that I think is really healthy. So yeah, it was a lot of work for sure, but that was the first thing where I was like, I want this. I was like, I'm going to go after this. I'm going to get it.
Gotcha. And
it was good.
Yeah. And knowing you, it makes sense. I had not thought about what type of personality matches up with being a tour guide, but I look at you, I look at the role of a tour guide. It's a perfect match. One might say soulmates.
Yeah, me and tour guiding are soulmates.
Are soulmates. And that is a thing that, again, this back to me being lazy. I didn't want to do the work to get it.
Yeah.
But I think if I did it, I would have had a lot of fun with it.
You would have been great.
And been really good at it. And so that was one of those things where it's like, whatever, like you can't do everything. But I think it would have been fun to be a tour guide.
For sure.
And then also selfishly, when I started this podcast, I think that would have been a perfect opportunity to just plug it every single time there's a prospective group of students.
True.
Because I think this is a great resource for Princeton students, I think, but the next best group is prospective students, incoming students.
Definitely.
And so when I was thinking, how do I grow this podcast? I was like, if I was Orange Key, this would be a way where every single week I'm meeting people from wherever, and that's just going to expand. They're going to come here concentrated, spread all over the world, and then do their thing. So,
and people are also like very thirsty for information about Princeton.
Yes, which is the most frustrating part about not being able to like find the right niche or find the way to get this to the right people, because this is, and I don't care, the content's good. The advice, the whatever, everything's there in the podcast, and it's just about not being able to get to the right audiences. Yeah. So yeah,
that makes sense.
It is what it is. What's the craziest question you've ever got?
Oh man, I don't like. Nothing too crazy. I just feel like what surprises me is and maybe we'll talk about this later with admissions and stuff, but the amount of times that people ask me like to give them advice on how to get in here. And I'm like, I don't like the whole thing. It's like, it's such a crapshoot. Like it's become such a crazy process. And I think people they have a lot of faith in the process, which sometimes I do think is like a little bit misplaced. And then also like their self-confidence gets so wrapped up in it. And like my biggest thing is like trying to proselytize that like you're great and you're smart and you're everything, even if you don't get into Princeton. So.
You didn't answer the question. Because I know you've gotten some crazy questions.
Yeah, let me
Because
think about
some parents are so unhinged, they don't care. They're just going to just ask whatever. Even maybe the students themselves. Usually I feel like it would come from the parents. That's my guess. But
yeah.
Just any particularly
No, yeah, definitely
crazy
the parents
question.
are crazier. Let me think about it. Oh, I actually had, this is kind of crazy. I had someone, so I don't talk about the fact that my parents went here on a tour because I think that's like super, you know, most people can't relate to that. And there's like complicating issues around legacy admissions and whatever, which like, that's a thing. I one time had somebody like ask me straight up if my parents went here. And when I told her that they did, she just like kept asking questions about it. Like, what year did they graduate? Did both of them go here? Whatever. And it ended up that she knew who my dad was. And she's like, oh yeah, Andrew Balson, like we were friends, whatever. So I call my dad after the tour and he's like, never heard of her. Never heard the name, never seen the face. And I was like, this is very odd. Like, I don't know what to make of it.
No, but it's very reasonable that people could have known him and he didn't know who they were.
I guess.
That's fair. That's more reasonable than you would think.
I'm like, are you telling me you had a crush on my dad 30 years ago? Because he's happily married. Thank you very much.
Still shooting her shot 30 years later. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. That's the one thing where I just feel like some people would just be out of pocket with the stuff that they asked, and it would just be interested in trying to be in that situation and answering but not answering at the exact same time.
And she kept like taking up so much airtime, and I'm like, people definitely have other questions. Like, I don't want to talk about my parents on this tour. So it was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And with being a tour guide, is it the type thing where how often are the students asking you for your LinkedIn? I feel like LinkedIn's probably the biggest one.
No, people don't ask for LinkedIn. They ask for my email usually.
Okay.
Which I'm like, you know, I'm reticent to give it. I just do it because most of the time they don't actually reach out to me. The weirdest thing was somebody asked to take a picture with me last week. What? And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like also unshowered and like, I was like, this is great. Where is this going to go? But so yeah, I took a picture, but sometimes email. I won't give out my phone number. That's too much.
Yeah, that's doing too much. You can follow me on IG. I won't follow you back, but
yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so we are now, what is it? The date I always forget to say the date that we're recording because it always comes out weird times. Like the episode I recorded yesterday is not going to come out for like 3 weeks. Didn't say the date on that one, but it is what it is.
Keep the people in suspense.
It is April. Oh, April Fools.
Yeah.
This actually not, the podcast isn't going out. We're done. April Fool, whatever. So April 1st, 2022 is the date we were recording. And as we talked about a little bit right before we started recording, I feel like this is a very interesting point in the semester for a few reasons. One, everyone's sick.
Yeah.
But not with COVID. Actually, there's a lot of COVID cases, but just like the flu, all this other whatever is going on. We're just a petri dish of disease on this campus.
Yes.
A lot of independent work is due really soon. Mine is due 2 haircuts from now, which is very soon.
Is that how you measure time?
That I measure time in haircuts.
That's awesome.
I get one every 2 weeks, so
Damn.
yeah, two haircuts from now. So it's due in 3 weeks. And there's just one reoccurring topic that I've been seeing, and when I say that I've been seeing, high-key Tiger Confessions is dominating the way that I think about this campus. But there's and I saw this in some other group chat. But COVID obviously was just a thing. Wearing masks all the time. Masks are now no longer necessary on campus.
Yeah.
And people are unhappy that there are people who are evidently sick, not with COVID, who are not wearing masks.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? Do you think people are always going to be wearing masks when they're sick, or what do you think about that topic?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I think something that's funny is like we all just forgot about getting regular sick, and so that's like something that we're readjusting to. And definitely, like every time in the last 2 years that I've had like a cold or something, I've panicked, and I think that's like I had COVID a few months ago, so that's starting to go away a little bit. Where I'm like, right, just normal germs. I know that there was not a culture in this country prior to COVID of of masking yourself when you were sick. I think post-COVID, it's something people should think about. I don't have a lot of faith in like the U.S. as a whole for doing that. People are like, whatever. People are crazy. But I do think like if you're sitting in a lecture hall or a seminar room with a bunch of people and you like probably have the flu and you're hacking up along, like it's not a great excuse for not wearing a mask. I don't think it should be like mandated, but it seems sort of like just general politeness to me. So yeah, I mean, if I have the sniffles, maybe not, but if I'm really sick in the future, I probably will put on a mask.
Yeah, which is probably the responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
But does that mean that I'm going to do it? I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll
I haven't been sick yet. Even when I had COVID, I wasn't sick, but haven't really been too sick in the last few weeks. Hopefully I don't catch this flu that's going around.
Yeah.
But maybe if it's, again, like you're saying, if it's at the point where it's like, that cough sounds nasty.
Yeah.
Nose runny all the time, looking all nasty. Maybe then.
Also, you can cover your sick face, which is nice. That's something that's been really funny in the last few weeks. Taking masks off in class, where you just were habituated to the top of people's faces, and you walk into the classroom and you like literally don't recognize anyone.
Yes. It's
very weird. People never look how I picture them to look.
Exactly. Said this a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Because the masks take up the majority of the face.
Yeah, they
60% of the face.
Yeah.
And the human brain is going to make up what they think the rest of that face looks like.
Exactly.
And boy, oh boy, when these masks have been coming off, I'm like, oh,
I was wrong.
No. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
I feel like most people look worse actually
than expected. Yeah.
Which I'm like, that definitely means I do too. So I'll internalize
yeah, that's exactly. I might need to put my mask on permanently also. And then also another contributing factor to this just weird period in the semester is how weird the weather's been.
Yeah.
We had a week or so, or more than a week,
it was a week, yeah.
Amazing weather.
I got super sunburnt 2 weeks ago.
I was wearing my shorts every day, t-shirts. I was like, oh, we're back. I literally said to people, I'm like, I'm not eating another meal inside an Ivy because we have our back patio. When the weather's nice, we eat outside.
Right.
Well, over the last 2 weeks, we are back in the depths of winter. It feels like. Well, I don't understand it.
No, it is tough, and I do feel like in the middle of winter, you kind of have like adjusted your expectations that you're like it's gonna be gray and nasty every day, and so you get through it and you snuggle up in your bed or whatever. This is the time of year where I feel like it really gets to you.
Because daylight savings hit and we're like, oh my God, more sun. It should be warmer. Which is so nice.
Yeah. I will say, not to be annoying, spring in Boston is pretty heinous. And so this is not familiar to me. Fair. Like basically it's cold through March, then it rains through June, and then it gets hot and muggy.
And that's where you want to get married?
Yeah, I love Boston. I can't really advocate for the weather, but it's a great spot. So like I would say I'm used to this, but it still sucks, and I'm ready. Yeah, I was literally like tanning 2 weeks ago, and I got like a really bad sunburn. And now I'm like, interesting. It was snowing 2 days ago. So. Yeah,
I remember one day specifically walking out of my neuro seminar. And it was 4:30, and it's right by Poe Field, and Poe Field was packed.
No, I was there. I was for sure there.
And in my mind, I was like, bet, weather's good, spring is here, things are good, the weather's good. And then fast forward 2 weeks later, walking out of lecture, no one on Poe Field because it's that cold. So it's just a weird little regression.
Yeah.
And then one thing for me that I don't, just a personal thing that has been occurring probably since early high school, every school year, there hits a point where it gets just that much harder to get out of bed. And I think this week specifically was that for me, where every time my alarm, there was one day I didn't get up out of bed until 40 minutes after my alarm, which for me is like horrible. I would say
actually for most people that's probably not that bad, but
you really?
I mean, I also like pop out of bed.
Yeah. Usually I'm like, alarm rings, pop out, boom.
Yeah.
This day it took me 40 minutes, and even at that 40th minute, I was like, oh, do I really have to do this right now? And so I have hit that point in the semester, which isn't great because, again, thesis is doing 2 haircuts. Is that something that exists for you? And have you hit that period, or when does that usually come in?
I would say, so the funny thing is, and maybe we can get more into the gap year stuff later, but like I kind of forgot about this whole like academic burnout thing that happens at this point.
Burnout, is that what it is?
I think so. I think so. And it's funny because last year I was working pretty hard, but my job just didn't burn me out in the same way. And I would say, we're 3 quarters plus through the school year at this point. And I would also say this week was the week where I'm like, every night after dinner in the library, like, do I have to do these readings? Like, what will the consequences be if I don't? And I did, because...
And what will the consequences be? To be honest, we're getting these degrees,
yeah,
guys.
well, we'll see. I'm not as close as you are, so I need to grind it out a little bit more. But no, I do really think that's... And the interesting thing is, like, sort of in conjunction with the conversation about the weather, like, thankfully, I feel like the really intense burnout tends to coincide with when the weather gets nicer. And so you're like, yeah, it's tough and I'm tired, but like we're close and it's sunny. And when I'm taking breaks, I can spend time outside with my friends, and like that sort of makes it better. And that's honestly, I feel like, why the last week or two have been really tough, because it's like the reward for getting to this point in the year has not been of the magnitude that I was expecting. So yes, I definitely feel that.
Yeah. And hopefully we are able to, not hopefully, the burnout happens every year, but we are able to push through.
For sure.
And again, there's not 3 weeks. There's maybe like a month left of school. There's not that much.
3 weeks of class.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 3 weeks of class and then finals. No, it's insane.
The way I just had an existential moment of crisis.
Yeah, sorry.
Realizing that I have 3 weeks left of classes in my college career.
Yeah, it's true. Moment of silence.
But speaking of that, the reason that you don't have 3 months left or 3 weeks left is because you took a gap year.
I did, yeah.
And I'm forgetting what you did. First of all, can we just acknowledge that segue? I'm getting good at this podcast.
You are.
I'm getting good at this podcast.
It's been very smooth.
Hey, thank you. We've definitely talked about what you did on your gap year, but I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
So please remind me.
Yeah. Okay. So the deal was, decided to take a gap year like 3 weeks before we were supposed to come back for our junior year. And Princeton was like, yeah, don't come back to campus. It's Zoom school for you. And I was just like,
nah.
I don't know. I think this is probably relatable, hopefully, to other people. Like, I was not in the best place. Like, Zoom school in the spring had been really tough. And I was like, there's so much that I'm going to miss in terms of like the full, like, holistic college experience if I choose to continue doing school on Zoom. It was a really hard decision for me to make. I don't like deviating from like the well-traveled path, and so that was definitely not my plan, but did decide to take time off. Caveat to that, which we can also talk about, is that my 3 best friends at Princeton also decided to take gap years, which was a huge, like, so that made me feel way better about the whole situation, and ended up being like a really good thing over the course of that year too. So I decided to take a gap year, had no idea what I was going to do for 12 months of my life, which had never happened before, obviously. I've always been in school. So I spent about a month. I moved to Princeton at the end of August.
Yes, you did. Thank you for the karaoke machine.
Yes, you're welcome. Yeah, that was great. We had already rented a house for the year because we thought we would be coming back, and so decided to carry on with that plan, moved to Princeton, spent like the first 5 weeks of my gap year so just talking to people and trying to find a job in like late August, early September, as somebody without a degree and like no skills was an experience. But I ended up beginning to work virtually for a biotech company, which is based in Boston. But again, my job was virtual, so I could be in Princeton and then later in the year elsewhere, which ended up being an amazing experience. The idea was basically like, when I came to Princeton, I thought I was going to be a bio major. Ended up deciding not to do that because like I don't really like STEM. I really just like bio.
Fair.
So pivoted towards humanities directions, which was the right choice for me.
Philosophy, woo.
Yeah. But I still really care about bio and about science, and so biotech seemed to me like maybe a good way to be near science without being a scientist. And also being from Boston is like something that was highly visible to me growing up. So I was like, cool, I have time, let me try and see. And this company that I worked for, it's called Ginkgo Bioworks, sort of took a chance on me, which I will be, forever grateful for. I ended up working for them the whole year. And it was a really amazing experience, like 11 months.
Like a year.
Yeah, wow. Over the whole gap year, I actually still work part-time for them, which is a lot, but good. I guess I forgot to mention that. On top of all those other
activities that you do, you have a part-time job.
It's very part-time. It's extremely part-time. So that was amazing, and ended up being a really good experience, and I think definitely will like inform future career decisions. But the nice thing about that was, so choosing to work full-time on my gap year definitely was a choice. But the nice thing about that was, so choosing to work full-time on my gap year definitely was a choice. that I made. And I don't regret it, but there was so much that I wanted to do outside of just working and like having a more traditional experience. And so because the job was virtual, it gave me some flexibility in terms of where I could physically be. So lived in Princeton for the fall, and then in the spring, those three aforementioned friends and I were able to do a cross-country road trip.
That's what it was. Okay, see, these conversations have all happened.
You remember. Yeah. Also, I feel like every person who did a gap year is like, oh, my road trip.
Which, to be fair, is something I think everyone should do. I want to do a fucking road trip.
You should.
I just haven't had the time, but I will make the time.
Maybe this summer.
I think that's...
Do you know when your start date is?
July 26th.
Okay, that's pretty, early. Oh, but we end school in early May.
I was about to say, I've heard some earlier, some later. It's right about in the middle.
That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
I forgot how early we ended school. Yeah, that's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was great. And then I lived in California for like 6 weeks with my grandma. Shout out to Abra.
Shout out Abra. Please,
she's my best friend.
Send her the podcast.
I will.
Shout out to you.
She'll listen to it too, which is awesome. And then I was home for a bit and then lived in New York last summer. I didn't know. We saw each other at the end of the summer.
Exactly, because I didn't even know you were in the city.
I was flying under the radar.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to like reintegrate with Princeton yet. I was kind of saving that.
Which is fair, because it was very, very much so Princeton heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be living in the city. Well, obviously I just said that, but with two non-Princeton guys, which I appreciate because, as you said, it's New York City. There's always going to be hella Princeton heads there, and I feel like I need a little bit of a space from that.
Yeah.
A little bit of a removal.
Yeah.
Max and Andrew were the first choices, but Andrew Boston, Max's brother, so...
Got it.
I'm not mad at how things worked out.
And is it high school friends that you're gonna...
No, guys that funny enough, one of them, they're both from work, and one I met the last week there.
Oh, wow.
But it's actually such a funny story. This last day or second to last day, everyone will write thank you cards for a bunch of people that you work with on your teams, whatever. And so I was standing in Target like 3 days before the last day of the internship, looking at the cards. Look over to my right, there's this other dude looking at cards. We make eye contact, you're like, thank you notes? He's like, yeah. And when I tell you...
That's a meet cute. Do you know about meet cutes?
No, please tell me what's a meet cute.
Like in a movie where like, the two main characters have some kind of like a coincidental, spontaneous meeting that like starts a relationship. So like, I don't know, I'm stealing this from something for sure, but like, a guy and a girl in like a store that sells pajamas, and the girl's like, I only need the top, and the guy's like, I only need the bottom. But like, it works with friends too.
Yeah, and a meet cute. That makes sense, because the way I always talk about wanting to meet my significant other in a spontaneous manner, I'm talking about a meet cute.
No, you're looking for a meet cute.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But so we were like, cards. And then we literally spent the next like 4 or 5 hours talking. Very cool dude who I was like, if I met you day one, we would have been homies forever. So talked that day, obviously talked the next few days, and then reached out to him like however many months ago. Like, you want a room together? And he was like, yeah. And let me just say, for whatever reason, asking someone to live with you felt like I was asking him
proposing.
It felt like it felt like I was asking for the biggest thing in the world. But the way it took me like probably weeks to be like, okay, like send this text, bro. Like
craft the perfect text.
Like, it's okay if you don't want to, just like let me know.
Yeah.
And when I sent it in like 2 minutes, he was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh.
And you're like, why did I spend so much time trying to be a chill girl when I was sending this text?
Yeah. And then this other guy who reached out to me because we had mutual friends. Seems like a really cool dude. Haven't met him personally yet, but can tell he's gonna be a great guy.
Cool.
So yeah, that's the room.
That's awesome.
And I don't even remember how I got to who I was gonna be living with.
Because you're living in New York. Something about that.
New York. Yes. New York road trip, summer. New York. Fun stuff.
I feel like we covered the gap year pretty much.
Yeah, we covered the gap year. But I like that you were able to do a little bit of everything. Sometime in Princeton. Oh, no. Because I was saying I didn't realize you were in New York City until the very end
of the summer.
And then we got brunch the one time.
Yeah.
But yes, fun times.
It was.
New York was fun.
I loved it. I'm definitely planning on moving there post-grad too, so.
Me too.
Yeah. Just hang tight for a year and then I'll come join.
And so you are also in a unique situation where although you took a gap year, and this is the exact same words I said before I started recording, your closest circle, I'll take a gap year with you. But I feel like everyone right outside that, maybe not your, like me, like friend, but I'm not your best friend.
Oh, no, all my other friends.
Exactly. I'm not Emily. I'm not the whole squad.
It's okay.
But yeah, all your other friends, oh my God. All your other friends are seniors and we will be leaving for the most part. What do you think next year is going to be like for you? Do you feel like you're just going to get sucked more into the friend group, or going to be forced to branch out more? Just what do you think next year is going to look like for you?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's like, it's hard to anticipate. I want to like start. I'm glad this is a podcast and most people can't see me in case I like cry or something. I think I'll be fine.
So most people can't see you?
In case I cry.
There's a YouTube.
Oh, true.
If you cry,
Hi,
they will see you.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'll get like memed or something.
And this is the clip I'll make for TikTok if you cry.
No, I'm not. Now I can't. Now I won't. I just like, first of all, before we talk about next year, I have been thinking a lot about many people who are very important to me leaving the school. And do just want to acknowledge that like those are the people that I started college with and like in some ways like, you know, mean the most to me. And I am really proud of everybody. Like as people wrap up their independent work and like look towards the future, I like am gonna cry. And like regardless of what happens next year, I do think it'll be good, but there will be, you know, a lot that's missing. So I do want to acknowledge that a lot of people I love are leaving this spring. In terms of next year, I think like if I take this year as sort of like a model, I think I'll probably end up branching out more than I expect to. The really nice thing about those three ladies that I've mentioned a few times, who are, you know, extremely important to me.
Say their names, shout them out.
Yeah, okay, Rachel, Chloe, and Emily, this one's for you. That's like really foundational friendship. So I know like no matter what happens with other people coming and going, like those will be my sort of like home base relationships regardless, which is really wonderful, you know, like to have that stability and that love. But this year, I think all of us have made more friends than we expected.
Agreed.
Yeah,
yes, for sure.
I came back and I was like, you know, anxious about reintegrating socially at Princeton. And I was like, you know, I have enough friends already. I don't know if I need to make new friends, which is also like, have I ever met myself before? Like, I really thought I wasn't going to like, you know, branch out. But I've like made some amazing friends this year, like through Ivy, like all the juniors that I've met. And then even like sophomores and some freshmen and, you know, like, so that's been really awesome. And I think like as much as next year, I'm sure I'll heavily rely on those previous relationships. Like it's really wonderful not to be able to predict what's going to happen and who you're going to meet. So yeah, I think it'll be different, but good. That's what I'm telling myself. Like it's not going to feel necessarily like a continuation of this year or, you know, of all my time with 2022, but I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. And also like, can I swear?
Okay. Yes, I've cursed a few times.
Like,
yes.
I'm not going to give a fuck. And then I was like, I don't know if you're going to have to cut that. But I think the really nice thing about being a fifth year senior is like, even to the extent that I don't really care now about like what people think and I'm just like doing my own thing. I feel like that's going to be even like exacerbated next year in a way that I hope and I think will be really liberating. Like just using my last year exactly how I want to use it. And, you know, all of the like insecurities and the anxieties of being an underclassman, I do feel like have really, you know, passed away in a nice way.
And yes, okay, so 3 different things that you touched on that couldn't agree with. First is the very last thing about how as you progress through the anxieties that you have as a freshman, sophomore, when you're an upperclassman, you truly don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a different dynamic when you're a freshman. You're just trying to maneuver the whole place. There's some people established ahead of you in every single group that you're in. You don't want to tread on any toes, do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then you just progress, and then you become a senior. You're like, why did I care so much before when I was younger? These people are 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to say? Like, you going to judge me? Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you say.
I'm
like,
not judging me, so whatever.
Yeah, whatever you say, like, I will be more than okay. And something as simple as, and I was just texting someone about this the other day, speaking in the Ivy group me.
Yeah.
Where...
So true.
It's funny how some sophomores are just bold. They come in, they're like, bets, I'm gonna say whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
There's some people who are juniors and some like seniors even who are like, I'm still nervous to talk in this chat.
Yeah.
But then I think as a progression, like I say this all the time, I speak in that group chat like it's a group chat of 3 people.
Yeah.
And it's a group chat of like 250. It's a fucking group chat. Everyone just talk. It's not that deep. And I think there's some people who, as they progress and become older, they're like, oh yeah, like none of this is that deep.
Right.
Why am I worried about so many different things that I've been worried about before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's none of it is that deep. And then another thing you said about making new friends this year. I didn't come in like, I'm not going to try to make any new friends. I just was uncertain about how things would play out.
Yeah.
As simple as that. Didn't know if it would be easy to meet new people. But exact same thing that you've been saying.
Yeah.
I've made way more new friends this year than I would have expected.
Me too.
Which then I think about, it's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's college. Like, you're new classes, new clubs, new operating in new spaces. That
Definitely.
is the way things would naturally happen. So that has also been refreshing. And then third thing, which was one of the first things you said, is the pride of all our friends.
Yeah.
And what everyone's doing. And I don't think that is something that we sit and acknowledge enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, we go to Princeton, whatever. But in spite, who cares where you go? To meet people 3-4 years ago, we were all very different people back then.
Really different people.
And to see the amount of growth that's happened for a lot of people, to see whether it's certain grad schools people are getting into. One of my friends just got into grad school earlier this week, texted the group chat, like, oh my God, congratulations. Like, so proud.
Yeah.
The jobs people are getting, just all the different opportunities that everyone's going into. It really is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it does make you proud. And even some, like Jared's thesis that's happening.
I'm going tonight. I'm so excited.
Shout out to you, Jared. I'm going tomorrow, where I've known him since sophomore year because we're part of a certain group together.
Yeah.
And knows, like, he's so into his dancing, he's so into the arts and all that. And then seeing just the accumulation of his efforts being going to get put on the stage, the way he's being celebrated so much. I'm like, this is exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
A lot of growth has happened. Everyone puts so much into their different unique fields, and I think we should celebrate each other a lot more than we do. And so it's just great to see that happening.
Absolutely.
Certain athletes, good to see them celebrated, like the women's basketball team. It's just beautiful. More love needs to be spread, and I've been very happy with the amount of appreciation that's been going around lately.
Yeah.
I think as a society, just as a world, we usually don't give people their flowers until it's too late, and so it's very cool to see everyone being appreciated as much as they are. So shout out to everybody. Keep killing it. Keep doing your thing. Everybody's so special. And again, I can't wait to 5 years from now, 10 years, 20 years, just see where everyone's going to be, because I'm not worried about anybody's future. Everyone's trajectory is like
straight up,
straight to the top.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I also think, like, I agree with everything you said. And like, even one more caveat to that is, like, our college experience, like our class in particular, was like super, super disrupted by the pandemic. Like, it was right in the middle.
Yes, exactly.
And so just in terms of like growth and like things that everybody have gone through, like, I think there's like a lot of shared trauma, I think, like, between people in that position, and just seeing, like, you know, the 3.5 years that have passed since we began, you know, that seems like a lot of time under normal circumstances. But then even like with everything that has happened, I think it's even more like gratifying to see all of the good that's happening now.
And if there was one word I would use to describe our year, it would be resilience.
Yeah.
Because we truly have been, and it really hasn't been easy. And if you just like sit and think about it,
I know
what we all had to live through, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But we're just able to keep going, always look on the brighter side of things. So again, shout out to everybody.
Yeah.
This is just shout out to everybody.
Shout out to class of 22.
Exactly.
Love you guys.
Especially, yes, love you guys. And first of all, we've already done 40 minutes. We're gonna skip the family dynamic. We're not gonna talk about that.
Oh my God, that's the best thing.
Is it actually?
Wait, yeah. What are the other things that are left?
diSiac, admissions day, which are both going to be pretty, like, at least 10 minutes each.
Okay.
And then we still have to get to the other two segments. Unless you want to do it. I'm fine doing a long episode.
Let's do it.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, me neither.
Fuck yeah.
I can't cut out my family. I can't.
Beautiful. I love that. Sorry, David, do you have anything after this? Oh, beautiful. Let's keep it going. Okay, so your family.
Yeah.
You have how many siblings?
I have 5 siblings.
5 siblings, including...
Yeah, two sets of twins.
Two sets of twins. This, like, the statistical chances that this happens must be very low. Have you ever looked at the stats? Like, what are the odds?
So they're low. Okay. They're very low. I don't know. I don't think she will. I was gonna say I don't know if my mom is gonna kill me if she listens to this. But I don't think she will. She's pretty open about it. So the reason that there are so many twins in my family is because of fertility treatment. Actually, they were not sort of like, you know, naturally occurring. So if you do like IVF or like similar,
you can pick to have twins.
You don't choose to have twins, but the way that it works, at least I'm more familiar with IVF in particular, is that you implant multiple embryos because they don't have like a super, super high chance of making it. So you increase your you do increase your chances of having multiples of twins or
I'm gonna have myself some twins then.
Yeah. But that's why they do it. And so, yeah, it is crazy, but also like there's a reason for it. So.
Yeah. And so what's the breakdown? Where do you stand in the 6 kids?
Yeah. So I'm between the 2 sets of twins. So I have 2 older brothers who are 25. One moved back to Boston this year, and one is living in New York, so you guys can be friends. He's great. And his girlfriend works at Goldman, actually.
Yes, please introduce.
Yeah.
You know how I love meeting
No,
people.
she's amazing too. And then I have 2 younger brothers who are 19. One is actually a freshman here, which is really awesome. Super fun to get to share Princeton with him. We get dinner every week and wrap it out.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then the other one is a freshman at Dartmouth, and having a really good time there. He did a bunch of skiing this winter, so we were quite jealous. And then my baby sister is 15, so she's the youngest one. She is a freshman in high school. She's a piece of work. Best person I know. So that's the deal.
Just wait, real quick. You said 19 and 19, Dartmouth, Princeton. You, Princeton. Older brothers, where'd they go?
Okay. We're doing this.
Yeah, we're doing this.
One went to Princeton, so he was a senior when I was a freshman, which was awesome. And the other one was at Harvard.
Your 15-year-old sister. Just a little bit of pressure to do the Ivy League thing.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I wouldn't say there's any explicit pressure. Like, we'll love her if she does anything. And I really do believe that. I think the other thing to say, like, 3 of us have gone to Princeton so far, and like that's just nepotism. Like, our parents went here, so the standards aren't as high as they seem.
Okay, and the family dynamics of growing up in a family of 6. I have 2 older brothers, so
Yeah.
that's like, I'm gonna say average. I'm gonna guess average is 2 kids, but
Yeah.
3 just feels about
yeah.
average. What is it like growing up with so many different siblings? Because even 2 brothers, when we're all now it's different. We're all older, all more mature. We were all together at home in Nigeria past weekend. It was all fun, like beautiful.
Right.
But especially when we were younger, it's like all going through puberty and getting more mature and just
There's a lot
fighting all the
going on.
time. What is that family dynamic, especially growing up with that many siblings?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I would say is, like, people when they find out about this are always like, oh my God, what is your life like? And I'm like, for me, it's just normal. Like, that's the only way I know how to operate is like in a context with that many people. I would say it's like as chaotic as you would expect. Like, we all really love each other, and like I really, like, my family is very, very close. Like, that's true. But it's so chaotic. And I think partially it's chaotic because we all care about those relationships so much. So if you choose to, spend a lot of time with your family and engage in whatever, that's going to sort of breed chaos. So it was like, I don't know how my parents did it, first of all. That's like the first thing to say. Like, shout out to my parents.
Shout out
like,
to our
what
parents,
the heck? I think it was always just like probably what you would expect, just like turn up the volume. Just loud. And like so many intersecting dynamics between the different siblings. That's something I also think probably other people don't understand. It's like,
who's your favorite? I'm kidding.
I truly, it depends on the day, and that is like not a cop out answer. I don't know who it is today. I haven't talked to any of them yet today. So yeah, it's just like, I would say like happy chaos is the way that I would categorize it.
And so, like I said, I have 2 older brothers, 3 siblings. For whatever reason, I've always wanted to have 3 kids.
Yeah.
I guess it's because there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Do you also want to have a big family because you're a big family?
Yeah, I'm going to say like a tentative yes in a hypothetical situation, but it is a complicated question, something I've been thinking about for far too long.
Kids are expensive.
Kids are expensive, and also I think as a woman, there's a lot of things that you have to think about in terms of like trade-offs that you want to make between family and career. And I don't know exactly how career stuff is going to play out, but I know that that's really important to me. And so I think in my ideal situation, I would have 4 kids. But sometimes I'm like, maybe 0, because it's just, I don't know. It's hard to think about balancing all of those things. And I know, like, it'll happen how it happens. And I think my parents really did do a wonderful job. But also my mom didn't work for 20 years after she had kids. And now she works again. She's a badass. It's amazing. She loves her job. But there was a big gap. And I don't know if I'm, selfless enough to have that
20-year gap without doing any work. Yeah, and you are right. And it's so interesting that even for my EGR class, 494, we had a guest speaker the other day. It was like a month ago. And she was talking about how when all of us I think someone asked a question along the lines of what are the things we should be thinking about as we're going into our careers. And one of the things she said was who you marry.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? And she was like, well, yeah, you got to figure out, first of all, when you marry someone, do you want to have kids? what that dynamic's going to be like, who's going to be the one to take the time off, whether it's a man, whether it's a woman. Because again, nowadays, sometimes it might not necessarily always have to be the woman.
Right.
But these are just the down the line questions that not everyone's really thinking about. Because everyone's just like, I want to have this many kids. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Right.
But like, feasibly, is it possible, or are you going to be able to make it work as well as you want to?
Right.
So yeah, just these little things that as 21, 22-year-olds we're not really considering as much, but
and
really
I feel like
do matter.
It matters so much, and I feel like my issue is almost the opposite of like I'm so worried about that. I'm so focused on that.
Oh, you're
like,
already thinking.
Oh yeah. Like I've been thinking about this issue of like kids and like having the right partner that's going to support whatever I want to do. And it's like, Izzy, take a chill pill, you know?
Actually, you're right. No, you're right. Not that I don't like stress over like, oh my God, what the fuck's like nothing's gonna be okay. But I do think about it pretty frequently. Like, okay. And I think everyone has their ideal timeline for life.
For sure.
When you want to get married.
Yeah.
When you first, even before that, when you want to meet the person. How long you want to date.
Yeah.
When you get married.
Yeah.
How many kids? What years? So I have an ideal timeline in my life.
Yeah.
Obviously, God's
shit
plan.
happens.
Shit happens. Like things will probably not work out that way, but I do quite frequently think about, okay, if I could plan everything, what exactly would I do?
Right.
So yeah, we're so mature.
I know.
Is this maturity?
I don't think so. It doesn't feel like maturity.
It doesn't feel like maturity. But yeah, I don't know. What was the term you used for like the spontaneous meeting of people?
Meet cute.
Meet cute. I need my meet cute to happen sometime in the next 4 years.
I think it'll happen soon. I feel like you're moving to New York. Like I see it for you.
Okay, I see it for me too.
Keep me updated.
Oh, for sure. Every girl that I meet cute, I'm gonna be like, is this the one? Okay. Anything else that you wanted to touch on with the family vibes, family dynamic?
I think that's good.
Yeah, they needed a little segment. It would have been rude to just cut them out completely.
Yeah.
And
also, if I'm gonna like make them listen to it, I'll have to be like, listen, because I mentioned your name around minute 45. I didn't say their names.
And also, you don't tell them where.
So they have to listen to the whole
entire thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And it's 50 minutes in. So then at this point, they'll be so far and they'll be like,
might as well just finish it.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. I guess, 7 listeners? No, 8 with their grandma for this episode.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll tell my other grandparents too.
Tell the whole family. Everyone's listening. And okay, transitioning on to diSiac.
Yeah.
Dancing, because you are the first dancer that I've had on this show.
Cool.
And dancing is a bigger part of Princeton's culture than I would have expected.
Yeah.
I didn't come to university thinking that I would ever go to a dance show. I've been to a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who are dancers.
Yeah.
And first question for you, when did you get into dancing? Pre-college? Was diSiac your first time dancing? Just when did dancing start for you?
Yeah, so I danced pretty seriously for my whole life until sophomore year of high school. So I danced at a studio in my town. It was highly time consuming and all of that good stuff. Sophomore year of high school, I ended up quitting because I was playing sports at school. And my school was like half an hour from where I lived. And sports were a really big time commitment, and I didn't really have time anymore. And so I sort of prioritized other things. Didn't think I would ever dance again. Then, like I said, when I came to college, it took me a while to sort of figure out what I wanted to be doing outside of class. I took my time, tried different things. And in my freshman spring, I was like really in awe of all the dance groups. I went to all the shows like freshman fall and like actually cried during my first diSiac show, which is super dramatic. There's one piece that was really moving. I don't know.
Fair enough.
So I was like a
okay.
fangirl, basically. Yeah. And so I went to auditions my freshman spring. And honestly, I was like, I'm just here for fun. Like, this is just fun. Like, I have some friends in the group. I heard auditions were like a good time. Tried out. Didn't get in. But like, I wasn't doing it for real, so you'd think I'd be like, cool, yeah, it was fun. But then I was really upset.
You were devastated?
I was devastated.
That's
I was
natural.
like, I was like, oh my God, I thought maybe like sneaky I would just get in, and then I'd be like, oh, what, me?
You were cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, but that didn't work out, and I was not happy. And so I actually decided to audition again my sophomore fall, and I was like, I'm gonna care about it this time. I'm gonna like, I don't know, try and do some workshops beforehand or whatever. I didn't really do that, but I should have. And like take it more seriously because I decided like it was a way that I wanted to spend my time. And so sophomore fall, I auditioned again. I got in, which was really exciting.
Ooh.
And yeah, the rest is history.
That is, first of all, beautiful. Great metaphor for life.
Yeah.
If at first you don't get it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Try again.
Indeed.
Never give up. Never ever give up. I love that. Yeah, exactly. And there's even I think of some kids on club soccer who tried out 2 times, didn't get on the 3rd try.
Yeah.
If there's something you want, you just got to keep going for it, and then eventually it'll work out for you.
Yeah.
The timeline that is intended for you might not be the exact one that you think you should be on. So yeah, there's no reason to ever give up. What was it about diSiac that initially drew you to that specific group? Because there's a bunch of dance groups. And
so
low-key, I can't differentiate a lot of them.
No, that's fair. I mean, I feel like I can't always differentiate either because everyone's so talented. Like, I want to go to all the shows and support everybody. What was it about diSiac? So I got into diSiac and Body Hype sophomore fall, which I was like, what the heck? I was so excited. And honestly, like, between the two, I had the hardest time choosing because I was like, everybody is so talented in both of these companies. I would be so lucky to be in either one. It ended up coming down to I actually knew more people in Body Hype. My freshman year roommate, Julie, was in Body Hype, so I knew a lot of people sort of socially, and I kind of just like wanted to meet more people.
Sounds like me choosing Ivy over TR.
Yeah, exactly. So that was definitely part of it. Is that I kind of like, I was like, I know I'll be friends with these Body Hype people no matter what, and so like I want to branch out a little bit. I think the other thing was like I was doing community service on Saturday mornings during that time period, like 9 to 12, and Body Hype had company on Saturday mornings, and so I was like, you know what? If this is the thing that like allows me to make this decision, that's fine. So I was able to keep doing big sibs and hang out with the kids, and then also do diSiac, which was really fun.
Gotcha. And another thing that I hinted at before this, before I started recording, is this issue. And again, I love how Tiger Confessions has become a source of just everything.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Everything Princeton. Yeah, it's so funny. But I swear that every time around dancing auditions, there will be a section of people on Tiger Confessions who complain about the fact that all these groups promote them. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know if this is true that y'all promote yourself this way. But according to allegedly, these confessions say that the dance groups promote themselves as accepting people from all different skill levels, and that they find that this is not necessarily the case, and you need to be such a highly experienced dancer to even get it. And so maybe these groups shouldn't promote themselves in a certain way.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. So they are no experience necessary. Like, that's true. There are people in diSiac that never danced before diSiac. That doesn't mean
bad dancers.
Anybody can get it. No, nobody's a bad dancer.
That's a lie. Actually, okay.
If you just have confidence and have fun, then you're a good dancer.
Exactly, because I don't want to. Yeah,
I look like a fool on nights out.
I think socially dance however you want, but in that type of setting, there's
yeah. I mean, and it's like anything else. Like, it's a specific skill that you like need to work on to get better. So like even like the people who join and are beginners, or like anybody who joins, like you get a lot better over the course of your time. So no experience necessary doesn't mean like no cuts, you know? There are cuts. I will say, I think what's cool is that there's a lot of opportunities to try out dance at Princeton without being in one of these groups, if you so choose. So if that's something that you want to try, or like work on your craft or whatever, like I'll just speak in terms of diSiac in particular. Like, we offer like workshops, you can take classes, there's co-curricular programs, and then you can also take dance classes like academically. There's a lot of groups on campus that don't make cuts. So if you like really, want experience, you can join other groups. So I think there are a lot of ways to dance on campus. Even if you've never done it before, and try it out and get better. And the other thing I would say is, like, from my experience, like, if you don't make it, like, try again if you care about it.
Exactly.
So
we give
I
up
think
too
that's
easy.
cool.
I agree. And yeah, that's quite. That makes it. Even just hearing you put it that way makes sense, because, like you said, just because it's no experience necessary, you're going to have a lot more people try out than there are spots for. So naturally, people are going to get cut. And naturally, it makes sense that if someone's been dancing all their lives, they're more likely to make it than you. Doesn't mean that the group isn't actually no experience necessary. It's just that when it's you and one other person going for the same spot, and they have that much more experience, it's going to come through, and that's going to be the reason that they make the team. So, yeah. And that's another thing I've realized about Tiger Confessions. A lot of the gripes on there, I don't know how valid they are. Sorry. No.
I do find it like a little, because also there was like some unkind stuff about diSiac, like during our show week. And I'm like, what kind of person is going on the internet and writing anonymously mean things about a dance group?
It's
like,
weird. Or about an eating club, or about men. Most of the things on there, I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah, I mean, some of them might be legitimate for sure. I don't really understand, like, especially in the case of the things that people were saying about diSiac. Like, like, you have no idea how hard everybody in the company was working, particularly the officers, particularly like the core, to put that show together, and for you to just like go on the internet and like be a dick. I was like, that's actually appalling. But the one really nice thing about it that I will say is that other dance groups, like people in other dance groups, sort of like came to our defense. And I do think like actually the dance community it's a powerful thing at Princeton. So I have a lot of love for, you know, everybody in the dance community.
And that actually transitions perfectly into another question that I was going to ask you about. And so when you put on a production, a dance show, you do what, one each semester, so 2 a year?
Yeah.
And so you do all this preparation for 4 performances, 5 performances. And there's something about that I appreciate.
Yeah.
I've never been in a group like that or in an activity like that where you're doing that much prep just to do something 5 times. Because like I said, play sports, you have 20, 25 game seasons.
Sure.
There's a lot of opportunities to show off your skill set, do whatever it is that you're doing. But when you're doing something like a play, a musical, a dance group, you prep for so long to put something together for 5 shows over 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And that is it. And then it's on to the next one.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that I just appreciate that simple fact. Is that how do I phrase this question? I don't even know if I had a question with that. But is that something that appeals to you about dancing? Would you say you preferred it to be that way rather than maybe the sports model?
Yeah, I like both. I like both. And I always did both growing up in some capacity, which I liked. So, sports, I just feel like I never thought of a sports game as a performance. I'm really competitive. And so I liked going out and, you know, playing in a game. But the thing about sports is like you're constantly building upon your skills. Like you play a game and then you have the opportunity to adjust to your opponent, like whatever, have 3 more practices and then have another game. I just think it's different. I do like having a show. I love being on stage, first of all. It's like, that's a great feeling. And like when my friends come watch, I'm like, oh my God, they love me. They're supporting me. So that's a good feeling. And it is like a really cool thing where it's like it's very much like working towards something and then it's over, as opposed to like, sports is much more like steady. So I don't know. I like both, but I think there is something really gratifying about knowing like you put in a lot of time and energy behind the scenes to something and then being able to like present it to an audience. It's a different model. And I think
thinking about it, I know the very first time that I noticed or even thought about this concept of you put in so much time for one thing and then you do it and it's over and there's just this bond that you have is Camp Rock. And no, let me explain. So I think there was either it's the post-credit scenes, although I don't think it is, or there's like an extended version where after the movie they show like maybe 10-15 minutes of just the cast like behind the scenes after they shoot the final shot and it's like cut and everyone's like crying and there's just so much camaraderie. And in that moment I'm like, it is very, very beautiful, and I can see how rewarding it is for a whole group of people to work towards one common goal, execute it, and then just be done. Like I appreciate that so much. And even senior year, so in high school, one thing that a lot of people would do is senior year they would do the school musical. And this is people who even had no experience at all, like friends on the soccer, like everyone would do it. And I seriously thought about doing the musical, but same time as basketball season, floated the idea by my coach, who was like, shut up, essentially. And I was like,
basically you were trying to be Troy from High School Musical and he squashed your dreams.
And I still maintain to this day that if the production would have been High School Musical, I'm quitting basketball, I'm doing the show.
Wow.
To this day, I swear to God, I would have done it. I would have done it. But it was, what was the production senior year? I don't even remember. But it was just something where, and that was another instance where I saw how, as a group, everyone who was in the musical, including these people who weren't in like the theater community beforehand, just how much they got into it, how much of a bond they had, and just how rewarding it was when they did put on a show. So that's just something that I've always appreciated. I love when people work towards a common goal and execute exactly what it is that they want to do. So
it's fun.
The dance groups get to do that twice a year.
For sure.
So I see how the bonds are as strong as they are.
I really,
And
I really love diSiac people.
Yeah, shout out to diSiac. And how much would you say that it's enhanced your Princeton experience?
A lot. I mean, I think especially sophomore year, something that I feel like people don't talk about that much is like, it takes a while also to find your place socially.
Sure.
So like I don't know, I feel like I've been friends with lots of different people over the course of my time here. And then like freshman year, made a lot of amazing friends, but wasn't really like in any like institutionalized groups, which I feel like is a big thing, you know, here. That's a way to meet people. It's a way to have like a stable social existence. And diSiac for me was like the first group that I joined. So socially, even sophomore year, it was like extremely important to me. I met some of my favorite Princeton people and best friends through that group. So like, I would say almost for me, that's like more important because I'm not a super serious dancer. And then just in terms of dance, as I said, I love being on stage. I think it's like a really amazing thing. And I have exposure to really, really talented people through this group, which like, even if I don't personally feel like, okay, like dance is my passion or my calling or something I want to do post-grad, it's like, it's really amazing to watch people do their thing. So just even to be like, you know, not a fly on the wall. I guess I'm like a fly in the performance. I don't know, like to be able to participate just a little bit in those people's artistic vision and all of that good stuff. Like, it's really amazing. It makes me feel, you know, really privileged to just be in that space.
And that is a perfect place to put a pin on the dancing and diSiac conversation and transition us right into our last topic of conversation before we get to the segments. And that is, yesterday was admissions day.
Yeah.
So shout out to the class of 2026, which that number is,
I know. Oh my God.
that number is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, how are there 2026? Like, when were they born?
I don't, like 2004.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
So, and so along with that, Princeton admitted everyone in the class of 2006, and this is the first year that they did not reveal the acceptance rate. Why do you think this is?
Yeah. I honestly have a lot of thoughts on how toxic the college process is. And we talked about,
this is a podcast.
Okay, perfect place to air that. We talked about this, I feel like a tiny bit when we were talking about Orange Key, but I do feel like that space gives me a lot of exposure to this issue and just like how crazy it makes people, not like they're being crazy, but like it's an upsetting process to go through sometimes. I think it's good not to release the numbers. I have to reflect on that a little bit more, but my knee-jerk reaction is that it's a good thing. I think like the process has gotten so crazy, and then like the way that we think about the process has also gotten so crazy, where people really do like attach their self-worth to the places that they get into school, and this whole culture of, you know, lower and lower acceptance rates and people applying to more schools, and like US News, whatever the ranking is, that we're number one in every year. Like, obviously when that comes out, I'm like, yay, Princeton. But like, also, that doesn't mean that Princeton is the best school for everybody. It doesn't mean that you'll have a bad life if you don't go here. It doesn't mean that you couldn't be happy somewhere else. And I just feel like this whole culture of like dream schools and low acceptance rates and people getting their feelings hurt, like, it's gotten really out of control. And so I think like this is not going to fix it. You know, like Princeton not releasing our acceptance rate is not going to be the thing that makes this process be less crazy. But I think it's a step in the right direction. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, and yeah, there's some things that I agree with and don't agree with. The reason that I saw that they did it is because they wanted to reduce anxiety for students who are applying, because they're saying that if someone sees the acceptance rate is 3.5%, which is so low, they might not necessarily want to apply. And I don't know. I think for some people, they see that it's like, that makes me want to apply that much more. Right. So if I get it, I could say I got into a place that has a 3.5% acceptance rate. So I see both sides of the coin. Yeah. But I do agree that overall, there's the whole process and I don't even know what the word is, like the way we put some schools on this pedestal, and exactly what you're saying about how it's like, oh, they make it seem like if you don't get to these Ivy Leagues or wherever else, your life is completely ruined. Not necessarily the case. I don't know how it is that we streamline the process to make it something that's people feel more comfortable with, something that's more equitable, because again, I don't even think it's a very equal process at all. It really isn't. Like, I took SAT classes, went to very good public. Like, there are all these things that very much so benefited me. People say things like having parents who went here makes it more of an advantage. So there's all these ways that the level field isn't necessarily equal. But I don't know how you fix that. But I don't think that hiding the acceptance rate is how you do it. Yeah.
I feel like Princeton is sometimes big on symbolic change. I don't know if that's, uncouth to say, but I do think Princeton oftentimes will recognize a problem and do something that looks good in an op-ed, but is not necessarily actually changing anything.
Actually, change anything.
Yeah, I do recognize that. As I said, I mean, hiding the acceptance rate, it's superficial.
Yeah, and I think low-key that might just drive it down more.
Maybe.
Because I guess more, exactly. Who knows how this is going to change anything? But I don't know if it's going to solve the problems of anxiety when you're applying to college. Because it's just an anxious process. Yeah. It's something that's going to be stressful every single year. Is something as small as it's going to make that big of a difference? Yeah,
probably not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I probably don't know. And so we don't even have to focus as much on that, but I want to focus more on the bright side of things and just getting into college, which is just a very cool feeling. I remember my first acceptance was to the University of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I made sure to visit because I was like, y'all are the first ones who let me know. I got a home for the next 4 years, wherever it's going to be. Your college application process, you're getting into Princeton. What's that story?
It's kind of boring. I mean, I applied early and I got in. So I didn't apply to a lot of colleges. I visited a lot of colleges. I know.
That is
and also I do want to we've talked about this, but I do my parents went here and that definitely it affected the way that I viewed the school and also definitely gave me an advantage. And so I want to say that up front, you know, be really transparent about that. I visited a lot of schools. I really loved Brown. I think it would have been a really good place for me, actually. I love Princeton. I don't regret anything, but I really loved Brown. I really liked Bowdoin. I knew I wanted to go probably somewhere in the Northeast, sort of my natural habitat. But I ended up applying to Princeton early for a bunch of reasons. I also applied to the University of Virginia because I wanted to apply to a state school because Princeton does the restrictive early action thing. But actually their acceptances didn't come until, or their decisions didn't come until about a month after Princeton, so I ended up rescinding my application because once I got into Princeton, I knew I wanted to come here. It was stressful, though. It was for sure stressful. My senior fall was a really tumultuous time at my school. There was a lot going on, outside the college process, and then obviously having all of your friends be really wrapped up in that was a stressful time. So I got an email a week before the decisions came out being this is when the decisions will come out. And I remember falling on the floor when I got that email because I was it's too soon. I wasn't supposed to get it now. And then that whole next week I was really stressed. And then the night before the decisions came out, I had 8 consecutive dreams in which I got rejected. No, it's crazy. I know. I kept
the 8 nights leading up.
No. The one night I would have the dream. I would wake up in a cold sweat. I would go back to sleep and have the same dream again. It was psychotic. It was crazy. And then that day, obviously, was pretty stressed. And then ended up going to my advisor's office when the decisions were actually meant to come out. I think it was 3 p.m. So at the end of the school day, because I wanted to be alone. She was in there with me, though, my advisor. In high school, I was really close with her. Got the email, saw the tiger and the congratulations, burst into tears, didn't say anything. And my advisor was happy tears or sad tears, happy tears or sad tears. And I was I got it, which was exciting. And then I had to go play in a basketball game right after.
Did you drop 30?
No. So I'm getting there. So I don't remember how I played over the course of the game, but it was my basketball team in high school was really bad, but it was a team we could have won, we could have beat. And right at the end of the game, it was super close. I think we were down 2 points. I had the ball. I turned it over. And they scored and they won. And I was I felt so responsible. My coach was kind of crazy. He definitely won't listen to this. It's fine. And then after the game, he was really upset. And then I was basically blaming myself for losing the game. And I hadn't seen my parents. I called my parents after I got in, but I hadn't seen them. And they both came to the game. And so I went out of the locker room after the game and I started crying again, but out of sadness because I was really upset about the game. And my mom literally grabbed my shoulders and she was shut the fuck up. She was stop crying. This is crazy. You just got into college. This basketball game doesn't matter. And I was okay. So that was exciting. But then honestly, many of my friends didn't know where they were going until April. And so I feel I was excited, but it was a simmering excitement because I was I don't really feel I'm I'm done until all my friends are done.
Yeah.
And all my friends ended up really happy. Like some of them actually transferred after freshman year, like the whole thing, you know, people go through their own process, but all my friends from high school ended up really happy. Actually, all of them are graduating this year, which is crazy too. So I'm proud of them too. Shout out to those
them.
ladies too.
Send them the podcast.
Yeah,
send
I will. I totally will.
Everyone the
So,
podcast.
it was a crazy time.
But that was a good story. You said it wasn't a good story. That was a pretty.
Well, no, but the process was just kind of boring. But
okay,
yeah, the
but that day of
and also like
acceptance.
nothing about the story is actually good. It was just me being dramatic at every step of the way.
Fair, but you told the story really well, which is all that matters. I mean, mine wasn't as exciting either.
Yeah.
I just remember I applied to a bunch of for whatever reason, I was like, I don't even know. There was literally no reason for this. I was like, I'm not applying early anywhere.
Fair.
I
mean, if you don't like know, then don't do it.
And it's not even that because I didn't get them in on time. My parents are, shout out to my parents. They made me apply like the second stuff came out.
Oh, wow.
The application opened. I didn't apply the day of. My dad got so mad. Started like, I'm gonna take away your car, take away your phone. I was like, relax.
Did you say cars?
Car. I don't know why I say cars. I meant to say keys, like car keys.
Yeah, I got
I'm
you.
taking away your phone, taking away your car, like insanity. And so I was applied everywhere by like a week after everything opened.
Wow.
But I still applied just regular.
Yeah.
And I applied to like 11 schools.
Damn.
So just waited it out. So I will say, when everyone got their early acceptances, and my school is a very competitive high school,
Right.
public school, kids got into really good schools. There were a few Princeton acceptances. I was like, did I make a mistake?
Yeah, I'm sweating a little bit.
Did I make a mistake? And again, you want to be happy for your friends and
Right.
happy for everyone, but you're like, naturally, you're going to be like worried about yourself. So I was
Right.
like, are those all the Princeton spots that are gone?
Right.
And then fast forward, the day that all the Ivy decisions came out, pretty sure they came out later than that. It was like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
My parents were in Nigeria. I was alone at home.
Oh, damn.
And then I was just like going through them one at a time.
Yeah.
Penn waitlisted, Harvard rejected, Columbia rejected. Princeton was the last one I opened. At that point, I was like,
sad.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'll say exactly, because naturally anything you put effort towards, you want to
Absolutely.
get, so you will be sad if you don't get it. So I was sad, and then I opened it, and I was like, sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Called the parents. I'm in. Phone down.
So exciting.
That was it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was a really good feeling,
Yeah.
for sure.
And it's crazy that it is like a life-changing moment. It's like corny as
I mean,
it is.
yeah.
It's pretty life-changing. Definitely changes the trajectory of your life. Not to say that, honestly, going to college itself is life-changing.
Yeah, and also
not
it's
that
just like,
where you're
it's
going.
change. It's not like
Yeah.
a better or worse change, like, oh, my life's going to be so much different,
Yeah.
like in a better way. It's just
Exactly.
like,
It's just
different places you go, it'll,
objectively going to college is life-changing.
yeah.
Not a controversial statement
Absolutely.
to say. But wow. Long episode.
Okay.
An hour 15. No, I'm not. No, we're good. So we've done an hour 15 minutes, and we can now get to. I lied. Perfect way to actually end that little segment.
Okay.
As you said, Orange Key. You mentioned this earlier, that one of the reasons you did it is because you're able to explain why you love Princeton so much and really understand it. And so I think this is a perfect way to end this topic with this new accepted class of 2026. Just speak on why exactly it is that you love Princeton as much as you do.
Okay. What do I want to say? I think one thing that I always say on my tours, which I really believe that I appreciate so much about Princeton, is that people here are really different from one another. Like, people come from really different backgrounds. They're interested in different things. I think, well, my friends, like, from high school or whatever, are like, what type of person goes to Princeton? I'm like, all the types, you know, like it attracts many different types of people. But I think there's like something that brings people together, which is that, well, A, it's just like good to be exposed to different types of people. But B, like, I think most people here, regardless of what their interests are interested in something. So like, people are, you know, they're invested in what they care about. They're enthusiastic. They're curious. And I find that really cool because, you know, like, what I do for school is I read big books in libraries by myself, and that's what I like to do. And then I have friends who are like in labs building robots, or friends who are doing neuroscience research, and all of the above. And I think that's really amazing because it's like, we don't necessarily have to have the same interests for me to appreciate that you are enthusiastic about what you care about. So I think that's really cool. I think it attracts a certain type of person that's like really invested and curious and enthusiastic, as I said, regardless of background, which is really cool. And then I think the other thing is, like, there are just so many opportunities here. And I think even like the gap here and the pandemic and everything sort of helped me gain some perspective on this, that like college is 4 years of your life. It's pretty short. You can do a lot of things with your time. You can choose to like drink beer every day and like, listen, drink a little in college. You should, like, that's part of the experience, but there's so much that you can do with your time. And so again, sort of depending on what you are interested in and what you want to do, Princeton is just a place, you know, whatever qualms that I may have with it, that offers immense opportunity for lots of different things. So to the point about, you know, being busy and being in lots of extracurriculars, like, I don't care about my like resume saying that I coached a youth basketball team. I really don't. I don't think employers care about that either.
That's why I didn't have my podcast on the resume.
No, exactly. But there's so many things that you can take advantage of if you take the time to be deliberate about it, and recognize that this place is like, it's one big opportunity and you can really make it your own, which is incredible. So
very, very, very well said.
Thanks.
And yeah. Why do I love Princeton? You didn't ask, but I'm...
No, I want to know. Also, it's like almost better for you to answer this question because it's like bookend reflection, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not even something that I've thought of. So just on the spot, what it is that I love about Princeton. Cop-out answer. Not cop-out, but partly similar to what you said. The people.
Yeah.
The people make any place great.
Right.
Princeton as an institution is nothing without its people. And the students especially, because I don't think I've been able to form that many bonds with alumni, faculty, whatever.
Yeah.
So I really care about the people, my peers, and there's just so many special people here. Again, what you said, everyone's motivated, everyone's so driven. Love that it's such a work hard, play hard atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because like you said, drink beer. People drink beer every day, still get better grades than me, still do all the extracurriculars.
I'm sure.
You can do it all here, and I've seen it happen. I
Yeah.
see it happen constantly.
Yeah.
I love how dedicated people are to their craft. I'm basically saying everything you said, but I guess
No, I mean, I feel validated by that.
yeah. And just the passion that people have for everything that they do. I was gonna say the opportunity. But it makes sense. The opportunities that you get, the stuff that I've been able to do with each summer has been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a great place. Everywhere has their problems,
For
obviously.
sure.
People like to harp on the problems anywhere. But when you really sit down and look at it, this place has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
Has a lot of great people to offer. And when you make up your mind that you want to make the best out of your experience rather than complaining about every small fucking problem, I think you can have a phenomenal time here. Which is why I think I've had a great 4 years. Don't think there's much I would do differently. Very happy with where I am this very moment as I'm speaking to you on April 1st, 2022. And yeah, it's a decision that at this point in time, I'm happy that I came here. Because freshman year, wanted to go to Duke the whole time. I was like, fuck, I should be in Durham right now, in Cameron Indoor, doing all that, but no.
Yeah, camping out to get your ticket.
Camping out to get my tickets, but no. Definitely glad that I came here.
Good.
Very rewarding experience. And again, I think it's 4 years that sets you up for the next 40.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you say that.
Thank you. And with that, we will bring it to the song segment, where I ask the guests to come with 5 songs that describe who they think they are as a person, or 5 songs that describes who they are as a person. Leave it up to interpretation. Yesterday, you told me that you had an initial list of 30, which is just insane.
It was 35.
35.
I went through all my Spotify. So this is a good window into how my brain works. I went through all my Spotify songs.
Wow.
And then I chose 35 or 40. The thing that I struggled with was this is not my favorite songs. It's like songs that describe me. So I was like, how do I disaggregate those things? So I chose 5. I'm going to say these are 5 that could describe me.
Okay.
I don't feel good about committing to the 5. But
yeah, and there's no way that 5 songs describe anyone. So,
yeah. Okay. So the first one I chose is Liability by Lorde. I love that song.
Because?
It's really sad.
Yeah, I'm going to ask for the reason.
Yeah, okay, cool. I do feel the need to explain myself. That song is about a girl who people think is too much. And I have had experiences in my life where I've gotten messaging around that. But I think the ultimate message of the song is that she's not too much for herself. And so despite, what other people may tell you about the way you choose to comport yourself or how you are in the world, ultimately, you can be your own best friend and your cheerleader. So
love that.
It is a really sad song, but I do relate to it, I will say.
Song number 2.
Song number 2 is You're My Home by Billy Joel. That was my parents' wedding song.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I really love that song.
At the Hunt School of Princeton.
At the Hunt School of Princeton, indeed. I look up to my parents a lot. I really love that song. I think it's beautiful. School and Life by Beyonce. on a happier note.
Do I even know? I don't even know if I know that
You should
song.
look it up. It's awesome.
School and
I
Life.
chose. I was like, there's a lot of Beyonce songs
And I
I
love
want to
Beyonce.
include.
I don't even know School and Life.
School and Life is like an aspiration for me. It's like just about killing it, you know. So I don't know if I'm killing it, but I'd like to. So I like to listen to that song to hype me up. Yes, I'm Changing by Tame Impala. I feel like that one just kind of explains itself. It's like,
I'm
you know,
changing.
giving yourself some grace and like allowing yourself time to grow and change. And the last one is Good Vibrations by the Beach
Good
Boys.
vibrations.
Yeah.
It's a sweet sensation.
Yeah,
That's how
so-
okay, bet.
It's just a nice song. Good vibes.
You feel-
I
you
don't
have
know.
good
Again, sort of
vibrations.
it's aspirational, but I like that one too.
Fair enough. Solid list of 5. And I'm
you.
I'm gonna off air because again, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I need the rest of the 35.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll send it to you.
And last segment. I almost forgot. Like, what's the last? I was looking at the Beyonce song. I forgot. It's Schooling Life. I looked up school and life.
No,
Schooling.
schooling, but
Okay.
it's just schoolin'.
Okay.
Yeah.
School it. Yeah. Apostrophe.
Easy.
So cool.
Easy.
Okay. Tiger confession segment.
Okay.
First one. It says,
Oh God.
I'm a third year who finally gave up their friends because they just wouldn't reciprocate the same energy. I also needed my closest friends to talk to and for support, but they just waved me off. I get we have busy schedules, but I rarely ask for support from anyone. Is it too late for me to make new friends?
Go talk.
Yeah.
No, of course not. First of all, I think there's a very delicate balance, I will say, between having tough conversations with people that are important to you about like, you're not giving me what I need, and then choosing to abandon a toxic friendship. So first of all,